One day, two men stood before a gate. The gatekeeper asked them, "Why should I let you guys in?" Joe, the well-dressed one, spoke first. He went on and on about all the important people he knew, and all the things he'd done, and all the places he'd been, and all the expensive art he'd collected. When the bragging was finally done, the gatekeeper said, "Pretty self-centered, aren't we, Joe? I'm sorry, I can't let you in." As Joe began to argue, the gatekeeper turned to the other man. "And what do you have to say for yourself, Harry?" Harry smiled and said, "I'm sorry, I don't know anyone important. I haven't been outside of El Cajon, and I gave everything to Goodwill." The gatekeeper said, "Harry, we know different. You have everything. You have always shared your love, which is the greatest gift of all. Come on in." Then Joe pipes up, "Hey, wait a minute." Harry turned to the gatekeeper and said, "Couldn't we just let Joe in too? Is my credit good enough?" And the gatekeeper said, "Well, I don't know." "Okay, we'll put it on your tab. You can come in too, Joe. Today's your lucky day."
Probably one of the most difficult things we do is give. It has a lot to do with our attachment to desire. It has a lot to do with our attachment to ego, to pride, to our mind, to our value system. Giving is one of the most revealing things that we do in our life, and how few of us are very good at giving. We like to give to those people whom we think are going to give us back something. In fact, our whole idea about giving is very projection-oriented. We project our giving towards the idea of getting something back in return. And because our giving has so many complexities to it, what will I get back? Who will think of me in this way? Will I be a part of the others? And am I as good as other people? Our giving turns into something really dirty, turns into something really neurotic, and therefore it's not real giving. I have a little thing about giving in my life. It's a Greg Penham, and you don't have to accept this as true, but I think at the end of our life, we won't regret the things that we've done or haven't done. I think we'll regret the way we gave. I think we'll find out we never gave at all. I think we'll find out we gave out of design. We gave out of the future. We gave to get something into our life, and therefore it wasn't giving at all. It wasn't a real gift. What it was a bargain. What it was a business deal, and it had nothing to do with giving from our heart. It had to do with giving to receive out of our ego, out of our fears. And when I give because I'm afraid, when I give because I think I'll get something back for what I do give, it's not a gift anymore. We often find ourselves at the gate, don't we? We have two men who are standing at the gate. Both want to pass through. One thinks that he can pass through because he has given so much in his life. The other hasn't had very much to give, but he's willing to give of his heart, which he developed all during his life. The one who gave so much has so little to give, and therefore he cannot pass through the gate. I think more often than not, we find ourselves at the gate at life. We won't be measured for what we gave and how much, but the way we give. And it's those simple little moments of our giving that are so deeply important. Those simple moments of giving attention and love and compassion at very important moments in our life. There's more to giving than meets the ego's eye here, too. Because in giving denotes the indication of whether or not we are willing to live from our heart rather than our head, from our feelings rather than from our logic. God is not reached through logic and reasoning. Many people would like to disagree with that, I'm sure, but those who have touched that presence that lives within them know that it's a feeling, not a thought. My willingness to give, even the way I give, the way I pay my bills, the way I free flow in giving, has a lot to do with whether or not I'm in touch with my heart or my head. If I'm in touch with my heart, I will find it very easy to accept those things in life which are a much deeper mystery to me than my head would like to accept. I would be willing in my heart through my giving to surrender, almost to die to God. And that's what giving is. It's like a death. This is why so many people have a hard time with it. There are two things that make giving very difficult. The first thing is it seems threatening to the rationale of our logic and our reasoning, because it says to us, if I give, I won't have enough for me, which is a trust issue and a deep inner issue about how we love and the way we love. And the second thing is that it brings about is, well, am I willing to go against how I think for how I feel? Most people are not going to go against how they think for how they feel. It's too frightening. Therefore, they initially live in a little box. The little box is a box where they live and move and have their life existence, and it doesn't much change. Nothing really changes around them. The only thing that happens to them is they live, they survive, and they die in that little box. They never have the bigger picture and the bigger experience. I figure this. Come take a walk with me. Life's been very good to me. It's given me an opportunity to work out my stuff. It's given me an opportunity to see myself. It's given me the opportunity for happiness. It's given me the opportunity for sadness. It's constantly giving to me. And one of the questions I have to ask myself is, what have I given back? And why have I given anything? If I give things to get, it's not giving at all. If I give things to get ahead, it's not giving at all. And if I give to be seen of other people to get their approval or their happiness, then it's not giving at all. I have a lot that I owe to life. I owe it the very best of myself. And I owe it from my feelings, not my thoughts. And if I look at my life and I say to myself, I'm not going to give of myself, I'm going to hold myself back, I'm going to try as a person to hold back and conserve for myself and keep some for me, I'll miss the opportunity of what life is trying to say to me. Because life is a great big let go.
Just believe we can be everything.
Buddha gave to us a very profound teaching. He said, if you knew what I know about giving, you would never not give thanks before you eat. He wasn't talking about the usual grace thing that we do at dinner. He was talking about being aware of the miracle of eating, the miracle of your food and what it's done to get there on the plate. The farmer that grew it, the maybe animal that gave its life for you to eat it, gross as that may sound. It's a very important process, this thing of giving. Life gives to us. The trees are giving to us. The sun gives to us. The rain gives to us. It's an interesting thing that we as a species are the only ones that don't give anything back to life. Oh, we give back our trash. We give back our pollution. But we don't give back love and compassion. What have we given to the world? War, technology. We call this progress. Progress is something within oneself when one sees from where one gives. When I'm giving from the attitude of advancement or profit or gain, then I'm not giving anymore. It becomes something else, a bartering, a business deal, and it even gets down into the nitty-gritty of our relationships. Very few people know how to give to their mates, their friends, their colleagues, just to give because you can, not because you're trying to be better or you're trying to improve anything. When you see someone with a need, just to be able to help. For what reason? No reason, just because you can help. How few of us give in that way. To us, giving has to have a motive and a reason that we'll get better or have more. There's got to be some area within your life where you begin to understand what giving is all about. It's a part of the spiritual process that is the most difficult for us because it's the one that goes against the rationale and the reasoning of our ego, of our conditioning. And because of that, it's a very difficult part of our spirituality. Meditation has a lot to do with the ability to give. It's giving ourselves over to the darkness, then giving ourselves over to the light, and then giving ourselves to life itself. Again, it's a practice. You give when you're listening, you give when you're watching, and you give when you're living. And if you are very aware of nature and you become aware of yourself with nature, you would never want to do anything that would destroy the art and the presence of giving. Though it is difficult, it is essential, and it has a great deal to do with our awareness and happiness in life. The difficulty with giving is that it's illogical. And for the cynical person who has never given or has never experienced the art of giving, it's very difficult for them to understand. They think, well, what do I have to be thankful for? And why should I give? People should take care of themselves. They don't understand the art of giving, that it's a free flow. When two people get married, if one is looking at the other saying, I want you to give to me because I married you to give me what I don't think I have or what I need, then it's not a real marriage, is it? They're always going to be looking to each other to give to them something that they think they don't have. And that's why we find so many marriages crumbling today, because everybody's waiting for the other person to give. I must be the first action of giving. Not because I'm a better person or I want to be a better person. And somebody may say out there, well, why should I? Because you can. You can do it. Nothing keeps me from giving. I've watched myself. Nothing ever keeps me from giving except my ego, my fear, and my pride. And when it's more important for me to hold on to things because I'm afraid, then I can't give. You see, what basic giving does is it destroys fear. Simple things like giving to yourself are often difficult. Do you know what the difference between indulging yourself and giving is? We indulge ourselves when we're trying to numb out, when we're trying to avoid a fear, we're trying to avoid something about ourselves that we don't want to admit. Giving to ourselves is when we're nurturing, when we're really willing and honest within ourselves to extend ourselves beyond what it is that it's going on around us, when we're willing to really take a deep look inside of ourselves without guilt and shame. Giving to ourselves means meditating, being kind to ourselves, not wanting more than what is, realizing that everybody in life is in their right place at the right time, and that those people who are suffering, we can give to them, but they have to make the real inner determination as to whether or not they're going to continue to suffer. If I'm giving to you, I'm not trying to alter your destiny. I'm seeking to help you where you are. These are very important points. They have a great deal to do with our karma, with our life, with our evolution. More importantly, with our ability to understand something that's bigger than our ego and bigger than our mind. Life is bigger than all the things that we see around us. Our mind cannot absorb it. The truth of the matter of what I found is that the mind cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. It can't go through to nirvana. It can be a path that can help us, but only the heart gets you into heaven, so to speak, within yourself, heaven within your being. And when you and I are willing to move into our heart rather than our head, we found not only the path, we found, more importantly, the key to life. You know, sometimes it scares me. I think I understand. It's easy for him to say.
Just believe we can be everything. Aspire.
Okay, Gregory, what's on your mind? Shoot. You know, all of this is really easy for you to say as usual. You know, I'd feel like giving if I had a little more money to give. It's not a matter of money that keeps you from giving. Start to look at it a little bit inside of yourself. You like to blame it on money, but it's your fear. The fear of not having enough, your fear of insecurity, even your fear of love, believe it or not, your fear of life. We're afraid to give because we think we won't have enough to give later on to other things, to necessities or whatever. This is pure baloney. You know what I found, Gregory? If you give because you can, without the idea of fear, you start to have more in your life. You start to open yourself up to a sphere in living that you didn't know even existed before. What are you afraid of, Greg? You afraid you're going to starve to death? You're afraid you're not going to have enough? If you're honest with yourself, I think you'll find there's a great deal of greed involved in it as well. Insecurity breeds greed. Desire breeds greed. Giving is a way of overcoming that. And how do you expect your meditation to be anything more than what it is right now unless you're willing to give yourself to the dark, to give yourself to the unknown? And giving is like that. It's an unknown. Give because you can. I know it's illogical, Greg. You're fighting with your logic and you're fighting with your reasoning. Haven't you had enough of that yet? Or do you need more? If you close your eyes, you'll feel the pull inside that's trying to take you down deeper inside yourself. That you're going to have to give yourself to also. You can't give your money, which is the easiest thing to give. How do you think you'll ever be able to give yourself to the void, to the emptiness, to the light, and to the truth? Giving money is simple. Giving ourselves to the void is more difficult. But both of them work with each other. And by the way, Gregory, the way you give your money is also the way you give your heart away. What else, kiddo? So what do you do when you're the only one in a relationship that's given anything? Well, you got to ask, what are you giving to the relationship, Greg? Are you giving aggravation? Are you giving worry? Are you giving insecurity? You and I are always giving something to the relationship. And sometimes we like to think that we're the only ones giving because it makes us feel better about ourselves. It makes us think, well, gee whiz, I'm a victim. Give because you can and be a good receiver. Part of giving is being able to give to yourself who and what you are, to receive the love of another person, which has always been very difficult for you because you haven't felt worthy. Feel worthy within yourself, and you will find that others are constantly giving to you. Life is constantly giving to you, and you can play with it. It's as important to receive, Greg, as it is to give. And I've noticed that when we as individuals think that we're the only ones giving in the relationship, we draw to ourselves those people who only want to take from us. Because the truth of the matter is, Greg, we're not really giving. What we're doing is giving to get approval. There is a motive in our giving, an intent, and the intent is to receive something like love or approval or affection. And when you and I are giving out of destination and reason, Gregory, it's not giving anymore. It's become a business deal, and it's not healthy for us. So how can you say that life keeps giving to us? It keeps giving us the shaft. Illness, bills, problems, fleas. They're giving you opportunities. Life is always giving to you. And a lot of those bills and those things that you have in your life are things that you put in there yourself. You gave those things to your life. What do you want? A perfect life where there's nothing asked of you? What a silly life that would be, and how ridiculous. That's not reality. Every bill that comes to you is an opportunity for you to help someone else. When you're paying the grocer, you're paying the farmer, you're paying the truckers. When you're paying for your gasoline, you're helping keeping people employed. You're a part of the whole. What a blessing it is for you to be able to pay your bills and help other people all at the same time. Not to mention the service you got for whatever it is you're paying for. Gregory, you need to relook at your life a little bit. You're very fortunate to have the things that you have in your life. Be glad that they're there and be happy to pay them. Because when you're really happy to pay your bills, guess what happens? The opportunity for more happiness comes into your life. You're not attached to things anymore. And then you're really able to enjoy what you have. Then how much you have and where you are isn't as important as how grateful you are for the blessings that have come to you. Gregory, giving is very important. Start to pay more attention to it. And if you do, you'll find a deep change in your own life. Be patient, young man. Namaste. Well, that was easy for him to say, and it's getting easier for me to say now, too.
We can be everything by you.
One of the basic premises that I teach, and it's one of my constant Greg Pennisms, is give because you can. Nike has just do it, and Greg has give because you can, or do it just because you can. And that's been the theme of our program. Giving is very difficult. I would venture to say, and forgive me if I sound terribly opinionated, but maybe I am on this, but I would venture to say that there are many of you out there who have never, ever given. You give with the idea of what you'll get back. You give with the idea it's a tax deduction. You give with the idea that there's a great cause out there and that's why you should give. And that's not giving, folks. That's buying, that's purchasing. And that's not the giving that Buddha, Jesus, Lao Tzu, all the great masters are trying to get us to understand. And if that's the way we give, that must be the way we love. And if that's the way we love, that must mean that's the way our relationships are. That means the only reason I love you is what I can get out of you, what you can give to me. And what a tragic way for me to love you. It makes it impossible for me to love you just the way you are. I'm sorry, but that's the way I see it. Listen, do things because you can, not because you should or you better or you will profit. When you and I drop profit, gain, and desire and get those out of the way, then we can give the gift that really is a gift. I can give you the gift of my attention. I can give you the gift of my compassion. I can give you the gift of my forgiveness. I can give you the gift of my understanding. And then it's really love, isn't it? And so few people give very much love to each other. Everybody talks about love as being a quality that is a passion or an emotion, and I say, no, no, no. Giving is a part of your soul, a part of your being, and if you give just because you can, even the light that lives within you, even though it seems very small, like we talked about in our story, then it's a special gift, isn't it? And that gift is the one that takes you to God, because that's the one that is of the heart. Giving's hard. It's hard for most people because it's hard to put away those desires of wanting to receive. But please remember one thing. There isn't anything on this earth that you could give, and I'm talking about physical objects or things, that could help anyone as much as the gift of your love. We need the gift of your love and your understanding. It means the world to us. We'll see you next week on Aspire. Namaste.